This is the Astrology and Tarot Show with Jessica Adams.
Hi, this is Jessica. This is your Astrology and Tarot for the week beginning December 22. Your tarot this week is Aries, the Fool, Taurus, the Queen of Pentacles, Gemini, the King of Cups, Cancer, the Four of Staves, Leo, the Knight of Pentacles, Virgo, the Two of Cups, Libra, the Seven of Swords, Scorpio, the Ace of Pentacles, Sagittarius, the Ace of Swords, Capricorn, the Knight of Staves, Aquarius, the Seven of Staves, and Pisces, the Three of Cups. So let's have a look at Capricorn weather, which is where we're headed. The sun is going into Capricorn, and all these fast-moving cycles, Aries, for you, are in your sector of success, ambition, position, and mission. And having been right through every scenario since 2008, you've seen it all, really, particularly in terms of the power and the control and the people politics involved in your job now, your course or your unpaid role, maybe in your entire industry. That was a very long cycle, and it might be tempting to think that every January is going to be the same. But you no longer have those questions about top dog. They've gone. Pluto's gone with them. Instead, what you're going to do in January is focus on what it means to you to be successful. You've got a fairly shrewd idea about the way the game of musical chairs is being played. As when the music stops, everybody finds a different position in the game that you're all playing. What you know very well is to line up the right chair at the right time and make sure that you understand when the music's going to change again. This may be literal for some of you. In other cases, what you're looking at here is the mountain, because that's what Capricorn is, the mountain goat who gets to the top or the peak. There's only room for a very few people at the top, an elite, and you may count yourself among them in January. In other cases, you may be striving to get there or wondering if you could not find a different mountain, as the one that you are on does not allow you that scale. Where you end up by this time next year is very much to do with the decisions that you make after Christmas and into New Year, as everything in astrology is so much of a cycle. So in a way, if you're plotting and planning for something different, you're on the right track. In fact, what your horoscope holds between the middle of 27 and 28 is the biggest and best potential in 12 years. Taurus. You have these Capricorn cycles heading through the area of your chart that we call the 9th house. And in the olden days, that used to be sea voyages and foreigners in your own town or port. Today, it might as well be the local airport or the translation parts of the World Wide Web. Of course, you can speak the same language and still find another country foreign. What's happening at the moment is that you're getting a lot of choices lined up that have been unavailable to you so far. So it may be, for example, that there was no clear direction in October or November, but now after Christmas, you're finding that things fall into place, either with a visitor from overseas or your own plans to get away. Mercury retrograde was in Sagittarius, which rules foreigners and foreign countries. That's now history. So you are in fact free to go, or others are free to come in to see you. All of this is very much about expanding your horizons. And if you're one of those people who have Sagittarius factors in your horoscope, you probably feel as if you were on a red light and an amber light for most of November. Now, it's very much a green light for you, Taurus. All of this may connect with the World Wide Web for some of you. In other cases, it's about traditional publishing. And it may also be about university or college life, because the 9th house is about the expansion of your horizons. Ideas, concepts, languages, traditions, beliefs which belong to another culture may well be the thing that opens the door for you as you go into 2026. Gemini, this is the most important financial cycle of the year for you. It starts very close to Boxing Day, and as you go into New Year, and certainly by the third week of January, you're being shown unusual ways to make or save a lot of money. That would be the outcome by the time you get to June 30, with Jupiter, the planet of abundance and opportunity, and also solutions, going through the zodiac sign of Cancer, which rules your own income and also cash in kind. So it can show up in many different ways. You may, for example, be offered free or extremely affordable accommodation. You may be offered all kinds of things which have a cash value, but you're not paying for it. In other cases, you may be looking at more straightforward arrangements like funding or the benefits that flow onto you from a family member or a partner. The time to talk is definitely now. Once everybody has recovered from the Christmas holiday and they are ready to talk business next year, you will also be ready with a few facts and figures, as it is time for you to start thinking in numbers rather than just words, which is what you're known for. What you add up in January is according to your own price tags and nobody else's, because you know what is priceless to you and who is priceless to you. It may be, for example, time, or it may be your own integrity or credibility. Whatever it is, that life budget is going to add up for you very shortly. Cancer. These Capricorn transits take place in the 7th house of your chart, which is all about a set of scales between yourself and another person. The traditional interpretation of the 7th house is marriage, but of course now it can mean all sorts of different duets, partnerships and dynamic duos. For some of you, it may be professional or business. In other cases, it may be a platonic duet. So you might share a house, for example, or an apartment, but that's as far as it goes. In any case, you probably have a here we go again feeling because you have been having a Pluto in Capricorn cycle since 2008, every single Christmas and New Year. So for you, it's traditionally been a fairly intense time of year with some sign-off and sign-on decisions which have absolutely changed everything. What's happening now is, yes, decisions, and you do have a bridge to cross in January, but none of the intensity of previous years because Pluto has gone. There are no longer any questions for you about who or what is in control of the partnership. In a very few cases, there may be an opposition, maybe somebody against you, somebody on the other side of the scales, and occasionally this transit coincides with legal issues. If so, you can look forward to February being the absolute final end of this ongoing series of questions and answers for you with the other side. Leo. So these transits in Capricorn are in your lifestyle and workload sector, and you are now being asked to make some decisions which have been overdue for a very long time about your doctor, your dentist, your surgeon, your therapist, and so on. In other cases, you're more interested in DIY maintenance, and therefore you are looking at different ways to handle food, drink, and so on for 2026. There are also questions here about complementary therapies and alternatives. As you go into January, you will find there are an unusually good selection of offers, discounts, and suddenly appointments which were not there before will open up for you. It is still that time of year when you need to be absolutely mindful of your well-being in relation to your workload. And you are also being asked to decide how you're going to carve up the 24 hours in every day, 7 days a week. This stems back to 8 hours for play, 8 hours for sleep, and 8 hours for work. And yet, amazingly, you may have been chipping away at one or the other. By the time you get to February, a new system should be in place, Leo, one which allows you to feel as if you are right across this in tiny detail. Virgo. This Capricorn weather that I've been talking about is for you about dating, courtship. It's about the bedroom. It's about babies, infants, children, teenagers, and Generation Z. That's what the 5th house is all about. And you know it backwards because of the things that have happened to you since 2008 with the long-running Pluto cycle of total transformation. Absolutely nothing is where it was. You know that for a fact. And now you are being asked to look back over your shoulder at what happened. It may have involved your son or your daughter, or it may have been a major question about a marriage, for example, or a serious relationship. Perhaps there was more than one episode in your life. Looking back over your shoulder enables you to put things in perspective so that you can look forward to 2026 with a fuller understanding of who and what matters most to you. If you are single, there may be a date, for example, in the offing. And if your child, be they young or fully grown adult, is going back to school or starting a new job, that's also going to be at the top of your list. In other cases, your involvement with children or teenagers may be professional, so you may be a teacher, or you could be a volunteer here, like a football coach or a charity fundraiser. Figuring out how you are going to pass on your influence to a younger generation and how you are going to get what you want from a partner is the big question of January, and it's drawing closer. By the time you get to Valentine's Day, it's a whole new era. Libra. The focus now in this Capricorn season is on your house, your apartment, your garden, your land, and any real estate. It's about your town and country, and it's about your household or your family. And in some cases, it's about all of that at the same time. Everybody knows that this time of year is all about family, for better or worse, partly because of Thanksgiving and the aftermath, and also because of Christmas. We also have New Year, and people who don't believe in astrology at all still honour the idea of a new start in a new month, in a new year, and that's what the horoscope is saying too. So you may see people moving in or moving out, for example, or there may be major decisions ahead about renovating or redecorating. Within the family circle, you have now once and for all decided about a change in the balance of power. That took place between 2008 and the end of 2024. So everybody is now relocated in relation to each other, and you know where things have fallen. You are also very much the sign of the scales, Libra. So there is a question here about what is fair, what is just, what is balanced and symmetrical, and in some cases, what is legal. And you will do your level best to answer that by the third week of January. Scorpio. For you, this Capricorn weather falls in your third house, which is about your brother, your sister, your cousin, or your neighbour. At the same time, it concerns getting around the local area, whether that is your city or an adjacent place. You could even include London to Paris, for example, by Eurostar. In addition to this, we have a focus on the internet and communication in general, being heard, read, and understood, and for some of you, the media. And it all adds up and goes together, even though it does sound like a mixed bag. What you're being asked to do is to look at everything in turn so that you make the right decision in the third week of January at the very latest. You are going to have to sign off on a crucial matter. It may, for example, be a trip away. It may be your sister or brother and their involvement with you, or perhaps you are looking at a website. Sometimes fundamental communication issues come up, like hearing or eyesight or speech. But in general, what we have here for you in January is a gathering together of everything that happened to you with this person between 2008 and 2024. Things will never be the same again, Scorpio, and you know that. Your ruler Pluto was at large in that cycle, and you now have to adjust and adapt to the new way it's going to be with that person. Whether you feel connected to them or whether there has been a complete break with the past, the politics can now be put to one side as you get on with the business of being related or in neighbouring places. Sagittarius. Like Gemini, who you may be involved with financially, or another Sagittarian, you are in the biggest and best cycle for making or saving money in 12 years. You have Jupiter going through the zodiac sign of Cancer, which for you is all about matters of a joint financial nature involving a relative or a partner. Meanwhile, at the other side of your horoscope, you have these Capricorn transits going through your second house, which is your own income and your own possessions or valuables. So it's time to sit down with the numbers and do some serious calculations with one eye on the final deadline, which is no later than June 30. If you are one of those Sagittarians who have Taurus factors in your horoscope, the end of the most unpredictable cycle of your life is coming at Easter. So for you, there may be another deadline there. It's not just about the end of June, but also April. Whatever your horoscope looks like, as a Sagittarian, you are now in the zone. And whether you care about money or not, you're being shown over the next few weeks clearly a way for you to see a lot more in your bank account, whether you're saving it through cash in kind or whether you're making it. Capricorn. The focus is on you again, as it always is on your birthday and also around Christmas time. The reason for this is that the sun passes through Capricorn, your own sign, and the solar first house of your chart, which is where you are always in the spotlight, either because it is your birthday or simply because a camera picks you up, you have a raised profile online, and so on. How you control what you look like, what people say about you online, how you are physically, and the rest of it was a loaded issue for you over the last few years. The intensity has gone now, as has the constant question, who or what controls the way that I'm seen, my title, my face, my style, my shape, my reputation, and so on. This is something of a relief that you no longer have to deal with that around your birthday. But there are some memories that are going to be literally unforgettable for you. Putting that in perspective and understanding that way that the past has affected you, whether it was a photograph on the internet or actually looking in the mirror, is part of what January is all about. There will be a relaunch. It will be a minor relaunch, but it will be at your fingertips and according to what you want to happen, no later than the 3rd week of January. Aquarius. For you, these Capricorn transits are in your 12th house, which rules your inner self and the person you are when you are alone. So between now and the 3rd week of January, you may find that you are left to your own devices, either because you choose to be alone or because life has a funny way of putting you on the sidelines for a few days. The reason that this happens in astrology is so that you can indeed look within. This cycle is associated with believing in God or not believing in God, or your God, his God or her God. That's part of it. It's also about therapy, counseling, mediumship, the tarot, hypnosis, the aura, the chakra system, and everything that is invisible to other people, but extremely important to you. In fact, it's as tangible and as real to you as anything else. And by the time you get to the 3rd week of January, you will be in a position to discard some of the memories of the past and to move forward into something quite different for you. We are, of course, going through that cycle called Christmas, when the Christian religion is under the spotlight, but there may be quite another reason for you to be soul searching. As this is also that time of year when people are left to their own devices more, because of the weather, apart from anything else, you can understand now why other people born under your sign need a week or two apart from the noise out there. Choosing it's not a bad idea. It enables you to do what this cycle wants you to do, which is to do a bit of soul searching before you start relaunching. Pisces. These transits are fair and square in your zone of social media, your social life, your friends, and also your address book. It's very much about people power within a group, and it's also about finding out how your true friends are operating in your life, having left behind what Nancy Mitford called the frenemy. So there are no more frenemies out there, and you have gone through everything you had to go through in terms of a network, a community, a club, a team, and so on. At the moment, you are being offered a different way to be part of a group. Not immersed in it and not losing yourself in it, but on the outside and somehow supplying it. This group is not going to change your life. The life-changing years are far behind you, but it is important for you to understand what is going on, as other people within the group will take it very seriously indeed. In fact, for some of them, particularly Aquarians and anybody with Aquarius in their birth chart, this group or this collection of people is all about their power. So you need to be mindful of that if that's who you're dealing with. In any case, there are a couple of invitations coming up in January, maybe to a party, for example, which will show you just how far you've come. And they will allow you also to reevaluate the friendship as you go into a new year. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next week and look at the whole of 2026.